So I wanted this video to be lengthy and informative about this ultra budget HP laptop, but it's going to be a little bit different, unfortunately. Hey guys, welcome back to our Hardware Sense channel. My name is Ivan, and today we're looking at the ultra budget offering by HP. This is a 15.6-inch laptop that it's tailored towards the beginners, ultra budget seekers, and people that want to spend more than $400. So this is exactly what this price of this HP laptop is, and they are not even marketing it under Pavilion or any of the other brands. It just says laptop 15-inch and the model number, which is 5599NR. And this one has a hardware that it's almost identical to the one I have in my Lenovo gaming Chromebook that I've showed you last year. We're talking about Intel's i3-1215U, which is low-powered i3 processor. We have 128 gigabytes of Nvme storage. We have 8 gigabytes of RAM. This one is DDR4, unfortunately. It's not DDR5. And we have a couple of other things on board that are worth mentioning, but we're going to go through the unboxing real quick. And after that, I'm going to talk about some drastic problems with this laptop and why I advise you to go against and not buying this one. Just look for another model. So let's dive into the unboxing, and then we're going to talk about it after that. So let's see what's inside this modest box from HP. Nothing really to talk about. It's kind of industrial looking, very simple. Inside, actually, they're packed up pretty well in all recycled cardboard. You'll see how the laptop is nested. Off to the other side, we have the cables, and that's pretty much it. Nothing exciting. Again, for $400, don't expect anything fancy. So here are the contents. This is the shell that kind of reminds me of an egg shell, actually, that what you're getting some eggs at the market. This is the laptop inside, protected. And on top of it, we have important product information and a warranty card. That's the only thing. And off to the side in cardboard, we have the cables, regular style Mickey Mouse cable. So this is good if you're traveling overseas on any other continents. We can just buy a new cable locally that it's the same standard and replace it. And the charging brick, it's absolutely tiny. 45 watts, unfortunately, is the barrel style and not USB-C. They saved some money here as well, but USB-C would have been much better because we have 45-watt chargers for phones now and higher, obviously, so you can just use one charger for the laptop and all your other devices. Now you're gonna have to hold this one as well. Luckily, it's not that big, so you can put it in your backpack and travel with it. And now if I open this shell, here's the laptop wrapped in plastic. And if I take it out of the plastic, you can see it in all of its glory. We have this interesting pattern, kind of a rugged plastic on top, which is good because it's going to prevent you from leaving too many fingerprints over here. We have a shiny kind of mirror style HP logo. Nothing on the back. On the right side, starting from the back, we have the HDMI, which is 1.4B. We have USB-C, which is only data, unfortunately, not video, and not charging, none of that stuff. And we have some LED indicators for charging and for storage indicator as well. And right on the front, 3.5mm headphone jack and SD card reader. Excellent to see. On the left side, we have the barrel style charger plug, 2 USB 3s, and nothing else. That's it. Now, if we flip it on the bottom, we have a large, slightly elevated rubber foot in the back and same not elevated rubber foot in the front. Perforations over most of the components. Kind of can peek inside and see what we have. And the exhaust of the fan is kind of in the middle here, but you're going to see it in a second when we open the screen. So opening with one hand is not possible. It lifts up the whole laptop because it's extremely light. You know, the whole construction is plastic. We have recycled material on top of the keyboard. Excellent to see. And here is the keyboard. You can see same exact pattern on top. Everything is plastic. Keyboard is plastic, but at least they give you a dedicated power button, which I really appreciate. And we have a full-size numeric pad on the side. A little sticker here for Intel i3 on the right side, which I prefer. That way it's away from your palm rest here. And the touchpad is kind of on the narrow side, and it's all plastic as well. So yeah, nothing fancy. Again, super budget friendly. This is the screen, matte screen. We have a camera right on top and rubber isolators between the screen and the bottom, which is great to see. Now, if we power it on, again, no backlight on the keyboard, none of that stuff. You're not gonna find this for $400. or it's going to be very hard finding it for $400. And of course, this one comes with Windows 11 on S mode, but you can opt out immediately out of it, which I personally did. And this is the standard Windows 11 Home. So out of the 118 gigabytes, we have 77.3 gigabytes available. So probably consider another 7 gigabytes going to be freed after you remove all the bloatware. So if I increase the brightness all the way to the top, this is the 250 nits brightness. So maybe the camera picks it up, maybe not. Kind of hard when you don't have an option to record your screen. And this is all the way down to the lowest possible, which is okay, not the lowest I've seen, but it's still serviceable. And now all the way up again. So what's noticeable right away, you have a fan. The fan spins, and despite the fact that this laptop is not a power horse and this processor is low powered, that fan will spin even when you are idling. And right now the temperature in the room is 21 degrees Celsius and the fan is spinning. So I'm going to get it close to the microphone. It's definitely audible in a super quiet room, but in normal environment it's not going to be audible. Just keep in mind that it's going to be running all the time, and that will be sucking all the dust from the bottom from those perforations into the components. Right on top there's a strip where we have the speakers. They're not placed on the bottom, which is a plus, especially considering that the quality of these speakers is not going to be great. So obviously the processor is the i3 as I mentioned. We have 6 cores total, which is 2 P cores and 4 E cores, 8 logical cores, and the cache is 15 megabytes. It's not a bad processor, especially if you're not relying on it to do a lot of intensive tasks. But the problem with Windows 11 is the memory. We have 8 gigabytes, which some of them are dedicated to the iGPU. And out of 7.7 total, you have 4 gigabytes free now without even opening Chrome or tabs or anything like that. And of course is DDR4 running at 3200 megahertz. Slots used, they're showing 1 out of 2. Which tells me maybe there is a slot inside to upgrade, but we're going to look at that in a second and I'll talk to you about it as well. The disk is Kyocera, which is, I think at this point, property of HP. Wi-Fi card is MediaTek AX, which is okay, but again, I would rather see Intel here, and I'm not sure how much money they saved, because you can get Intel 201 or 210 or 211 even for under $20 aftermarket and replace it. Maybe that's an option, maybe not. We're going to check out as well. That's enough for the overview. I'm going to flip it open and try to open it and show you the internals. And we're going to talk about it a little bit later as well. Now, the biggest disappointment comes when you flip the laptop around. You will see right away there's 2 screws right here, which I removed. And you're thinking, oh my God, great. We're going to be able to open it with no problem right away. Well, nope. HP made sure to stop you from not upgrading or servicing or cleaning any of the components inside, because there are other screws placed underneath the rubber feet on the back and the front. And of course, if you want to remove these, you're kind of screwed, because what are you going to do after you remove these? The adhesive, it's not going to stick back in, or you're going to have to use super glue to put them back in. But what if down the line you want to clean up the dust that is accumulated inside the components? And what are you going to do? Again, rip the super glue. That's probably going to be prone ripping this rubber, because over time, you know how it goes. The material ages and becomes more brittle. So you are having a problem. This problem becomes bigger and more global, because this creates e-waste. If you're not able to service or upgrade this laptop, over time you're going to want to replace it, which I'm sure HP would love to sell you another one. But the problem is, what are you going to do with the old one? You're going to have to dispose it. And again, that creates a massive global problem, which I don't agree with. I have laptops that are over 10 years old and I'm still using in different areas around the house, and they're still serviceable because you can easily open, upgrade the memory, upgrade the storage, clean them, get the dust out of the fans. And if the fan is failing, which this one might, because it's running all the time pretty much, if this fan fails, how are you going to replace it? Yes, the budget is not a lot, $400. Yeah, maybe you can afford buying another one in a couple years. But again, what are you going to do with the old one? You're going to have to dispose it. It becomes a problem. So yes, big thumbs down for HP creating these obstacles for us to not be able to upgrade this laptop or clean any of the components inside. And you can kind of pick it and see, and they're kind of teasing you. And I try to open it, and after me trying to prop and do all that stuff with my plastic tools, I even cracked some of the shell right here, see above the HDMI port. So yeah, I advise you against trying to open this one unless you want to completely ruin it. So that's pretty much it. Let's go into the conclusion. All right, conclusion time. And what do I think about this ultra budget HP laptop? Well, the biggest problem here for me is not being able to open it properly and upgrade any of the components. They went out of their way to put screws in the bottom underneath the big rubber feet, which is a massive problem. If you try to remove them, then you're gonna have to find a replacement or be crafty with some super glue so you can glue them back up. Otherwise, they're not gonna stick back in and it's gonna be completely ruined. Opening it is incredibly hard, probably the hardest laptop I've seen to open, and this should not be the case for a laptop that costs $400. People should be able to easily open it and upgrade it themselves or service them themselves, because if it's tailored towards budget buyers normally would try to do something like that on their own to improve some things. And if they had a lot more money, they would go for a higher level gaming or much more expensive laptop that has all the storage, all the memory, so they don't have to really open it and service anything. That's just my opinion. I think they could have engineered it much better. Just leave the bottom lid with a couple screws so you can easily open, clean, service, and all that stuff. Because trust me, that penetration is on the bottom for ventilation. Over time, it's going to get cluttered with dust. And if you want to blow that dust out, you won't be able to. You're going to have to, again, remove these feet and becomes a massive problem. Maybe HP, I just want you to buy the next model once that happens, but that promotes e-waste and it's unnecessary, because laptop like this, if you give it to the hands of like older relatives, parents, grandparents, they can probably use it for 10 years. But imagine if all the dust gets inside and the fan breaks and something like that, it's gonna become a problem. It's gonna become unwanted e-waste that you're gonna have to dispose right there. So HP and other companies, be more reasonable. Give us the option to easily open and service. Even if you cannot upgrade the memory, even if we cannot upgrade any of the other components, at least we'll be able to blow the dust off and clean it up and make it working again. Otherwise, you are facing a lot of e-waste out there that is going to be going for nothing. Other than that, I think it's a pretty decent laptop. I mean, the components are fine. It works okay with the Windows 11. Not my favorite, but Windows 11 behaves better with 12 and up generation Intel because it manages the E cores and P cores better. 8 gigabytes of RAM, I mean, it's okay. For browsing and just light office work and emails, it's fine again. The screen is fine, 250 nits, nothing to write home about. At least it's 1080p and it's a matte screen. The camera is 720p, serviceable for Skype and Zoom calls. One of the biggest surprise and big plus for me is the inclusion of SD card slot. I know a lot of people are still using digital cameras instead of their phones, so they just want to take the SD card, plug it in and download their pictures. That's the case with my older relatives as well. So this helps a lot. Having a lot of USB ports is good as well, and having HDMI port in case you want to hook it up to a TV and maybe watch some Netflix or something else on a bigger screen. So that's a plus, and I cannot fault them for that. Again, for $400, I would have expected much easier surface. The whole body is plastic, obviously, very light, very flimsy. The keyboard is definitely not one of the best I've seen, but at least it's full numeric, so you can use the numeric pad. And the touchpad is plastic as well, slightly on the smaller side. I prefer it to be a little bit bigger, but most people will be using it with a mouse anyway, especially those that are not used to with laptops. Older relatives, again, they're gonna hook up a mouse and try to use it that way. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Stay away from this one. Honestly, try to get some of the other budget ones. They are easily to be opened. Last year, I looked at one of the budget offers from Acer that has the AMD processor, and that one can actually be opened much easier. Upgrade the internal storage and clean up the fans and all that stuff. I would definitely advise you to get this one for $400 instead of this HP for $400. I know the low budget market is kind of saturated and it's hard to pick which one is the best and which one is the worst, but I'm going to try to go and review more of these kind of units so I can show you what to avoid in the future. That's pretty much it. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video. Stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe if you're new. Check out the links in the description below if you want to support the channel directly. It helps me tremendously to bring you videos like this regularly. And as always, guys, you have a wonderful day.